create legacy of impact and income through the channel of entrepreneurship and do more good in the world. You will get access to all our amazing speakers today and walk away with great wisdom and inspiration so that you can level up yourself and your business to the next level. All right, welcome back to another summit, Legacy Builders. I'm so happy to be back with you with another summit and with another room full of amazing speakers today that are lined up here for you to share information and knowledge around their journey as entrepreneurs, but most importantly, all the amazing work that they do as purpose-driven entrepreneurs out there in the world. And they will share with you how these entrepreneurs build their successful companies as well. So I am your host, Elona Lepari. CEO and founder of the Life School. And here at the Life School, we help entrepreneurs and CEOs, legacy purpose-driven CEOs, build purpose-driven businesses that create more impact in the world by branding, by helping them with their branding, marketing, sales systems, and team, so they can again really add value to the world with the work that they're doing. And the vision for our community here at the Life School and our events is to empower CEOs to realize their life's purpose through legacy entrepreneurship. Our mission is to become the most influential global community in purposeful entrepreneurship and entrepreneurship in impacting the world to become a better place. And lastly, what's a community without its values, right? The values is what really unites a lot of us together. And our values are community, connection, service, growth, freedom, and contribution. So without further ado, I'm going to be bringing to my beautiful stage all our amazing speakers today to really have a very heart-to-heart conversation, just like I love to have these conversations that create spaces where they will share their messages with you. So I will start with my first speaker, Shante Rodriguez. Shante, thank you so much for coming on. Looking forward to getting to know you better and looking forward to all the amazing value that you will add with us today. So can we start with an introduction? What is it that you do? And also what led you to the work that you're doing now?
Of course. Thank you very much for allowing me to spread my message a little bit further. My name is Shantae, and I am a financial coach for women. I specialize in empowering women to take control of their finances so that they can build a lasting legacy for their families while still enjoying the present. I was led into this because I am a faith-led entrepreneur. I was led to share my gifts, not only with those close to me, but those as far out as I can reach, and to serve them. I take absolute pride in the fact that God has allowed me to not only use my gifts to build a lasting legacy for my family, but also families in the US and overseas.
Yeah. Well, beautiful work right there. So, Shante, if you could share with us some of the problems, so to speak, that you have seen that women face, and also some of the solutions that you provide for them that could be helpful for people listening to us today.
Of course. So finances affect women completely different than it affects men. So the main ways that it affects women more is our life expectancy. Our life expectancy is usually longer than men, which means our retirement money has to last us longer, our income has to last us longer, our savings, everything has to last us longer. Also, when it comes to divorce, in I don't remember the actual numbers, so I can't quote them, but women tend to make less money after divorce than men do. And part of that is due to our responsibility as caregivers. We are also usually the ones that have to care for the children and take time off work for maternity, which also affects our pay. So then that leads into the gender pay gap. There's a lot of ways that affect women differently than men. The main way to get past these things is or to help minimize them, is to make sure, one, that you are tracking your spending, that you are setting clear financial goals that you are making sure to reach, and educating yourself. One of the big reasons why I got into this was because I saw a lot of lack of financial confidence in women. And I just want women to know that they can do it just as much as the men, if not even better. We just have to be open to it. We have to speak about it and not be afraid. And we have to just have faith that God will lead us to the path that we need to take to make sure that our family is secured now and in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love the mission that you are after because yeah, I mean it's about time that we really acknowledged all the work that we do, right? Everywhere and a lot of many years for many generations prior, we were never paid for any of this. And that led to a lot of let's say a lot of mindset blocks for us as women always being in service and undervaluing a lot. I've seen this in firsthand with my work in helping women entrepreneurs grow their businesses and companies as well. So I love the education that you bring to the table and the empowerment that you're bringing for your clients as well. Well, thank you so much for sharing what you did so far, and I'll definitely come back to you at the end as well. Inviting my next guest panel speaker today, Ariana Palumbo. Ariana, welcome.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you. So, Ariana, if you could share a little bit around the work you do and why you do the work you do, some of the most meaningful moments, I'll let you there.
Sure. I'm a women's virtual life transformation coach. I help the overstressed mothers of the world to take a step back from burnout and build a life they love through what I call the RPGC method, which is reflection, planning, and then goal crushing. And it was interesting to hear what's already been said because it's very similar to the work I do, but without the financial aspect and the essence that it's about helping women put themselves back on the to-do list. I think because of the second shift ideas and this idea that we work a job and then we also come home and then we work a lot too. I talk to a lot of clients that struggle with doing all the primary caretaking while they work. And then this generation has an additional challenge in that a lot of women are making more money than their spouses are, and they're still doing the majority of the work at home. So I definitely love working with women and watching their self confidence grow. It feels like Christmas morning when you get those clients that are starting to really do the reflection on their values, who they are, what they're really all about, and start to implant in them that they can do whatever they dream to do. And so then we start to set small goals and they start to crush those and we just keep moving forward. And so it's such a blessing to get to work with women. I got into this because I love women. I think that we're amazing, and I don't think we ever really know how much we are. So I get to be my clients' biggest cheerleaders and tell them that they're amazing women and phenomenal and that they have so much to offer.
Absolutely. That is powerful. And Ariana, based on your unique solution with your framework, what is it that you could share with us that you find that if someone is feeling that stress and overwhelm and burnout, especially as they're leading the way, a lot of us are trailblazers, we're building companies really around our unique gifts, our unique intuition, we're building companies that really mean something for us, and of course stress and burnout could be part of that process. So going back to your unique solution, what can you share with us that will help a lot of women entrepreneurs listening to help alleviate some of that stress and burnout that they might be experiencing?
I one of my key things I coach on is boundaries are your best friends. It is okay to say no. It is okay to delegate. It is okay to take an hour for yourself to go grab a coffee or to go for a drive or to go for a walk or do what you need to do, whether that's because work is chaotic or home is chaotic or a little bit of both. So it's okay to implement boundaries. And I think it's really hard because as women, we're often taught to be nice and to make everyone happy. And you can still do that, but you can also do that by saying, hey, I have a couple of kids at home now and they're 8 and 12. So it's okay if they do the dishes or if I teach them how to cook. And then I get time to not have to make a meal. Or if at work your boss gives you 7 tasks and you say, hey, I have 7 tasks. Please tell me which one you want to prioritize. So boundaries are our best friends, and we need to get in the mindset to use them and then utilize them correctly to narrow down our to-do list and put ourselves back on it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lifelong lesson I find with boundaries. So, but that is so important in our day to day and putting ourselves first, right? Because again, that is a whole sort of reprogramming for a lot of us, and a lot of this is subconscious, right? So, doing the getting the support that you provide women help someone hold that space and figure out what works for them. So thank you so much for sharing what you did and all the amazing work that you're doing out there in the world.
Thank you.
All right, beautiful. So moving on to my third speaker today, Kate Gondwin. I hope I'm not butchering your last name, Kate. Welcome.
Thanks very much, Elona. No, you're not butchering it at all. It's a French surname, so it can either be Gondoin or Gondwin. So depending on where you want to pronounce it, that's fine. So thank you very much for having me on here today. Um, I am an international possibility coach. So I help women who have relocated abroad, and for them to generally they're accompanying their partners when they're relocated abroad, and it's how do you navigate that as an individual, as a wife, as a mother, and how do you actually negotiate for your own career, for your own possibilities, for your own interests, for the children, and it's navigating the whole thing, which sounds like a fantastic holiday unless you're in it and you feel very isolated, very alone, you don't speak the language, you don't understand the culture, just basic things like going and setting up a bank account, or dealing with things for the children at school, is things like that. So I help, generally it's women, but it could be men as well, to navigate the whole international realm, and what it means both as individuals but and also for organizations, so that they can actually make the most of the opportunities wherever their employees are in the world, as a family unit rather than just as the employee themselves.
Mm. Wow, that is so beautiful. Such a unique niche. I have not heard that before, but there's so much need for that for sure, because we're looking at different choices, right? And even with our lifestyles and the way that we get to do our work, or even if maybe we prioritize one of our partners to maybe focus or allow them the space to kind of build something on their own. And how do we find that fulfillment when you're in a new country starting from fresh? You're fresh. You're reminding me of my parents. I find that they needed someone at that phase and stage when it was a new country, new language. You don't know a lot of things, and you don't have connections. So someone like you would really be such a great support for women in that space as well. So, Kate, based on the framework that you follow, the way that you support women, what are some of the things that you could share to give us a better idea around what kind of specific support do you offer? So if someone is listening, they can, resonate with what you're saying there.
Yeah, of course. I mean, fundamentally, what I do is life coaching, but the difference is that it's life coaching on speed, as I say. So it is around reconnecting with who you are, what's important to you, what the constraints are, what the opportunities are, and what it is that you actually want to do as an individual and as a family, and helping you to reconnect with who you are and then create it from there. So a lot of people go into kind of like panic mode, and feel that they're alone. So it's providing the opportunity for the support, for the kind of like getting back to what's important and reconnecting. A lot of it is around breathing. It's a lot around kind of like body work. It's dealing with the stress, but it's also to do with the life stages. So helping people to understand, what it means to be somebody who is working or not working in a different country, because obviously a lot of people identify with the job that they're doing. So if you've gone from being a professional in one country and you've suddenly been landed in a different country where you can't work, who are you? And it's all to do with self-worth and things like that. So, as people have already mentioned, this whole issue around finances is obviously another big one. And what I basically do is help people to take a step back, look at what's important, look at the areas that are giving them the stress and the angst, and then helping them to kind of reprioritize, to reconnect with who they are, and therefore how to move forward with it so that it's a great experience for everybody, and so that they can be the parents that they want to be as well. So it's very much a holistic view.
Yeah. I love that. I mean, yeah, the identity thing is a big problem for sure because you know, when you have built something for yourself in a space or a country, let's say, and you move into somewhere new, it feels like you don't know anyone and no one knows you. So it feels like you're starting from scratch or zero or experience, as I usually say, because I don't think we ever start from zero, but that's just my personal opinion. I love that. So, Kate, have you also moved to different places
Yeah.
frequently? Is that your personal life story?
So, I mean, I actually moved from England to France, but I did it when I was pregnant with my first child. So I was transitioning from being an independent professional woman to being a mother who was also working in a foreign country, in a very different culture, even though it's just across the channel. It, you know, from a cultural perspective, it's very, very different. So I was navigating a number of different transitions. And I basically was in the situation where I was burning out because I was trying to do everything as a, you know, an A star. That's what you've always done. You know, you push harder, you work harder, as other people say. You know, you take the lion's share of all the responsibilities. And so I burnt out. And I nearly left my children without a mother because I couldn't cope. So now what I do is help other people to take the step back before they get to that stage so that they can then work out what's important and then move forward from that. And as I say, I work with individuals and organizations because the cost to the organizations of failed international assignments is astronomical. You're talking the average of $900,000 for one failed assignment if it's an international assignment, which
Yeah,
is huge.
absolutely. That is actually brilliant because I work with corporations and there's such a need for that with their teams, right? To help them navigate all this uh, remote work in a, you know, in a different physical location. So
Yeah.
beautiful, beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Kate. Thanks so much for
Thank
sharing
you.
that beautiful energy, beautiful work that you're doing there as well. And looking forward to welcoming to the stage my next speaker, Bridget Potterton. Bridget, welcome.
Thank you so much, Elona, for having me. I really appreciate it. I am Bridget Potterton, and I am the CEO and residential real estate broker of the Bridge Coast team at Keller Williams here in San Diego. I've been in real estate for about 20 years, and over the course of my journey, I have decided to help different groups. One in particular, about 15 years ago, was I started to help couples who are going through divorce, which several of my esteemed co-panelists have already mentioned their work in that space. Certainly, it's not unheard of, but I realized that there was a big gap between the way that we as real estate professionals were handling our clients who are going through divorce and what the better process and the better way to do it was. So ultimately, I became a certified divorce real estate expert. Now I work with a lot of attorneys. I actually speak all around the country, educating my fellow real estate community on how to work in this space, how to navigate a complex transaction when people are going through the worst time in their life that they didn't expect to go through. And then the second piece that I added on during COVID was I feel like I really changed as a person and realized at a much deeper level how privileged I was in my life and how I wanted to do a lot more than just be, you know, competitive and a top producer in my industry. And so I really started focusing on community, giving back. Now I'm involved in quite a few nonprofit organizations, whether it be helping people get employed with autism. I sit on several advisory boards with the Salvation Army. I go to mission trips in Mexico. I'm going to be leaving again this weekend for another mission trip. And just ultimately learning how to use my voice in order to empower and to better our community, both locally and globally.
Mm. And I know in the second piece is where the spiritual fulfillment lies when you are in contribution. So I love your unique niche as well. In you know, with the real estate and someone that's going through something of a new life stage or new life event, right, such as a divorce. So we also have a lot of investors, a lot of, you know, people that are looking at different markets, so to speak, to not only invest but maybe even move there or relocate themselves physically because we get to work remote for most of us. How is the real estate market now, and what would you share? What can you share with us around that area that you find that you know that it will be helpful for someone that might be interested?
Sure. Across the board in the United States, our market is still pretty strong. It's a seller's market. We're not seeing quite as many, properties go way over list price as you probably heard about during COVID. The real estate market was pretty out of control. Here in San Diego, we're still getting multiple offers on most properties. I just put a home on the market over the weekend. After 2 days of showings, we had 8 offers, all way over list price. And so that is still happening. It's just not happening as much. I think people are a little gun shy with the interest rates being higher than I've seen in my 20-year career. And I know that it can be a little bit of a sticker shock when people see the payment. So ultimately, I think you just need to figure out with the numbers what makes sense, and don't overbuy. Figure out your budget and stick to it, and don't put yourself in a position to um, get yourself into dangerous territory with a mortgage. And ultimately, kind of, sometimes we just have to put our ego aside a little bit and say, I don't need that dream home today. I need a home that's good for me, for my family, or for my significant other, or whatever, that's going to work for me in my current need.
Yeah, absolutely. That's another area that there a lot of self-analysis is required for sure. Because I could see how, we could just carry on a lot of other patterns of what we've been used to before. But yeah, thank you so much for that insight for people that might be interested in that. And as far as in the divorce aspect of things, what have you seen that you could share with us, Bridget? If someone is going through similar life event, what are some of those things that you have seen that could help someone?
I think that there are a lot of people out there who, when they go through a divorce, they think, I'm not rich. All I need is an attorney. I don't need a team, right? And I do highly recommend divorce coaches. If there are a lot of finances to figure out, a certified divorce financial analyst. You really do need a team if you're going to be going through a divorce, even if you don't consider yourself wealthy, because I've seen a lot of people make some really bad decisions. And sometimes by the time they come to me, it's too late. One example could be, if you are in a very high conflict divorce and you're negotiating back and forth, and you decide, you know what, that's fine, they can have the property. So you remove yourself from title. But if you're both on the loan, guess what? You're both still liable for that loan. And so you need to be careful with what you do. You need to talk to good financial experts who can walk you through a lot of things. Because again, even though you may not feel like you are wealthy, if you own property, you need to make sure that you are well protected, and that the people who you are working with are looking out for you.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for that advice. That's really, really helpful advice. And yeah, amazing work you do as well. So thanks for sharing. And it was great to be you here as well. Awesome. So moving on to our next speaker, Alexandra Walker. Alexandra, thanks so much for coming on. Looking forward to getting to know you a little bit better as well.
Hello, thank you so much. It's wonderful to be here. You know what? Compared to everyone else on this panel so far, I am an entrepreneurial toddler. So I had a career in London. I worked in the civil service and in the charitable sector. But I'm now transitioning, and I am now a trauma-informed coach, an author, and a musician. So I'm all about helping people to navigate the tough stuff in life, difficult relationships, past traumas that are proving difficult to get over, complicated grief, that kind of thing, and to get to the point of peace and freedom and purpose in life. And it's all rooted in my personal story. So I suffered emotional abuse from my father, and it's taken me 40 years, in fact, over 40 years, to get to the other side. But I've got there. So I'm now launching my business. It's called Damsel Not in Distress, for hopefully obvious reasons. And I've also recently released a book which tells the first part of my story, hopefully to help others. And that's called Reclaiming Christmas. So that's me.
Yeah. Well, welcome to entrepreneurship. And there's no such thing as comparison. We're all on our individual, unique journey. As long as we can inspire each other, I think that's the good part of comparison. But I love your unique spin to things. And I could still relate to some of your personal experience as well. And with your book, if you could share, and the music aspect too, that's very cool. So tell us a little bit about that. And Alexandra, if you can walk us through some of the most important or some of the foundational things that you have written in the book for someone that needs the support with your kind of work.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to say, I think for entrepreneurs, I think we all need to get our stuff together, and we all have things to sort out in different ways. And one can either face them, up front and deal with them, or you can kind of sidestep them. But I think if you sidestep them, they pretty much always come back to whether to haunt you or to bite you or whatever metaphor you want to use. So I'm all about encouraging people, to have the bravery to look at these difficult things. So my book, so basically Christmas was a real flashpoint for my father's bad behavior. And I suppose it's kind of to be expected, at Christmas, we all get together with our families and we're kind of expected to have a great time and it's really special. And there was always problems around Christmas time. And I literally got to the point where I couldn't even do Christmas. It was like a freeze trauma response. I withdrew completely. And then I decided, stuff that, I'm going to reclaim the joy for myself. And I found a way to do that. And I think this can be applicable to so many things in work and in life. If something's been sullied, how do we reclaim the joy in it that we know we once had and that is really rightfully ours? So the book basically tells the story of my experiment to reclaim Christmas. And, I think that the tools that I used, they kind of see us as whole human beings, so our mind, our emotions, our body, and our spirit. And I really think you have to look at all those areas to heal well. And I also think there are really quite simple techniques that we can use. So journaling can be so helpful to kind of unpack your emotions and understand them and begin to transform them. Affirmations can be super helpful for kind of the negative thinking in one's mind and moving forward. And, then listening to your body, people have talked about that already, listening to one's intuition. I do think they are simple. They do require a bit of dedication to get the results from them. And that's where I really want to support people to do that. So my first products will be courses around journaling and affirmations, for example. And yeah, so that is really what I'm all about. I think it's about being intentional about becoming the best version of ourselves. And that is a constant evolution, basically. And just finally to say, my key values are depth, so kind of engaging and understanding deeply so that we can heal. Creativity, that's where my music comes in. There will definitely be some music in my business down the line. And then adventure, because even if things are tough, life is still an adventure, isn't it? And hopefully we can have some fun along the way.
Wow, beautiful. Thank you so much, Alexandra, for sharing. And thank you for sharing your personal story and, showcases that vulnerability for so that it can become in service, or you can use that in service to someone else that might be going through something similar or can relate to that. So powerful, powerful work. Thanks so much. All right, beautiful. So I'm moving on to my other next speaker, Lolita Cleveland. Lolita, thanks so much for coming on. Looking forward to getting to know you a little bit better as well.
Well, I want to thank you so much for having me. I so appreciate it. I am Lolita Cleveland, and I am a certified mindset coach. But before I began this journey, I worked a full-time job for 38 years, and I retired in 2019. But while I was working that full-time job, I also had my side business that I was building as I worked. But I really, really stayed in that job, I think because I was afraid to leave. I was afraid to step out and do the things that I really wanted to do. But I was miserable at that job. And it's so funny because I was miserable for so many years, but when it was getting close to time that I was going to retire, I found joy in that job because I had to come to the place to realize that you can either stay here, be miserable, or you need to find a way in order to make a positive impact to the surrounding and the environment that you're in. So in working though my business, I continuously worked with women and it led me to the mindset coaching because I kept hearing about how I can't do this. I can't do that. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. I'm just so afraid to do things. And that took me back to the very first position in which I had to go out with my full time job. And one of the things that I did was to go and collect money from people, and you had to go to their homes and their businesses to get it. And I remember being so afraid and so fearful, and I just, oh, I could, my heart was beating, there were knots in my stomach, everything. But I had to figure out a way in order to get out of that vehicle and go and knock on that door because they were paying me for that. And it's the same thing that relates to our business. Many women entrepreneurs, because that's who I serve, I show the female entrepreneur how to unblock her fear of failure by shifting her thoughts to create abundant energy around money and success. And many of us don't believe that we're worthy of the money and the success, and we hold ourselves back. And as I watched the women that I led give excuses one after another of why they couldn't do this or why they couldn't be successful, that led me to becoming a certified mindset coach. And because I wanted to make a difference, I wanted women to know how powerful they are and how they could do anything that they set their mind to. Because I believe that, I take God as my partner, and believing that with God and I, we can just do anything together. And it's that faith that keeps us. And so I wanted to instill that into the women that I come in contact with. So that's what I do.
Wow, I know someone else that had a similar story to yours, to stay somewhere too long, but realized that, yeah, I'm unhappy, and let's see what I can do to make this environment the best it could be, and really work on that self joy there. So beautiful, beautiful work. So Lolita, back to sort of your framework and how you help women entrepreneurs. Um, attract that success mindset or have that success mindset based on what they're looking for. What are some of those pillars or things that you utilize in your coaching that you would like to share with us that can help someone that might be listening to this?
Yes. So some of the things, like the former lady who just spoke, talked about affirmations. I think affirmations are so powerful, but I believe that the affirmations have to be really, really specific. Think about, because sometimes we keep getting a certain thing over and over again. But that's the thing that we're thinking about. We're constantly thinking about the thing that we don't want. And we are not putting the emphasis on the things that we do want. So the affirmation has to be very specific so that you say and you state exactly what it is that you want and when you're going to get it. And you keep saying that affirmation over and over again so that you can diminish that negative thought that is so pronounced in your mind. So you keep doing that affirmation over and over, and it does take work. The other thing is reframing your beliefs, looking at what it is that you're telling yourself. So if you're telling yourself that, you know what, I don't have the skills necessary to be successful, then let's just unpack that and then reframe the thought so that you can create a statement that tells you exactly who you are and what you do. So we do that. And then I think the other thing that is really one of the other things that we do is to really work on collaborations. It is so important that we collaborate with each other so that we can hold each other accountable to the things that we say that we're going to do. I have 2 accountability groups that I'm a part of. And if I say that I'm going to do something and I show up and I have not done it, then they hold me accountable. So I think that's really important, and that helps us to move forward.
Yeah. Well, powerful pillars that you're working under. And I'm sure there's so much more personalized support that you also provide. So thank you so much for sharing that and for all the amazing work that you do for women. I say, I mean, I am not the only one that says this. Of course, I teach strategy, but I've seen that you could teach strategy all day, but unless the mindset is in the right place, there's not going to be any execution and obviously no results. So I know how important that piece is. Thank you so much, Lolita. And moving on to my third speaker on our panel today, Eliana Barosco. Eliana, welcome.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. I am Italian, but I live in the beautiful London, England, which means rain most of the year like we have today. So I apologize in advance if you hear something rumbling in the background. We're just in the middle of a thunderstorm. So hopefully my internet connection will hold. So what I do, I'm a multidimensional intuitive life coach, which I know sounds really up there, but all it is I actually help people tap into their heart energy, their senses, and really connect more intuitively to their body so they can make decisions and choices that feel right to them. What is right and what is wrong? Well, each and every one of us decide that. So back at the age of 38, I'm 51 now. So quite a few years ago, I was still working in the city and I've been working in a corporate world for 20 years. And then an illness hit me and I didn't see it coming. And I went through depression. I contemplated taking my own life. And then when I had an awakening, I realized that as I got there, perhaps there was something inside of me that could help me get out of that state. And that's when I started training with mentors and teachers to really kind of grow my sensitivity. But when people talk about intuition, they think it's something ephemeral, something ethereal, sitting maybe here, somewhere here, maybe up here, somewhere there, somewhere outside of us. So for me, it was a struggle to sort of put it into words and actually help other people feel the things that I see and feel on my own skin. So one day, many moons ago, I started experimenting with my body. And I remember to date, one morning I woke up, I was sat at the table having breakfast, and I just looked at my body and I said, "Good morning, beautiful." And all of a sudden, I started feeling this surge of well-being, almost like someone had stroked me, caressed me everywhere on my legs, my arms, my hair. And I got a bit spooked, even though I work with guides all the time. And then I kind of played a little bit and I said, okay, what shall we eat this morning? Shall we have this piece of bread? Shall we have the butter? And I was getting different sensations, pleasant and not, depending on the questions I was asking. So I realized that I had tapped into something that was basically like a barometer. It was like a temperature check that my body was giving me and saying, look, this is what is right for you right now. And then I decided to kind of play with it a little bit. And then I started moving on to things like books, electronic devices, movies. And then I took it up a notch and I started moving into the realm of relationships as well, to ask if that meeting was good for me, if something that happened in the past had affected me and how it affected me, which organs, which parts of the body, which areas of the body were impacted. So that is really how I shaped my business, my way of helping people to really help them tap into their sensitivity by firing up the heart energy and really become more intuitive from the point of view of the physical body. Because I realized that many people feel that they can trust their gut feeling, they can trust their senses, but there is still so much of a separation between the physical body and really how we feel about the body and how we feel about anything really that touches us. So yes, so my mission ever since has been to really help people reconnect with their senses in terms of working around the areas that are really important to them in their lives: relationships, work, well-being, health. If we don't have our health, nothing else matters, as Metallica say. So over the last 4 years, since 2020 started and things changed, I turned all of my business online. I started running courses and programs, initially one-to-one and then group. And I realized that the techniques that I was sharing could be picked up and used by people that are sitting miles away from me. And then last year, I started my Dauntless Intuitive Academy for intuitive people. And again, the academy is beautiful because aside from working with the power of the body, we also work on the limiting beliefs of what is right, what is possible, what we can achieve in this lifetime, and anything that has to do with the emotional aspect of ourselves, because we are humans, right? We are emotional beings, and more often than not, emotions tend to hold us back based on all the adventures that we had in our lives. So I call it a 360 experience, but obviously there's a lot of heart on it because it's my passion, it's my pride and joy. And that's the pride and joy that I want to share with everyone on this planet.
Yeah. Eliana, thank you so much for your service. And yeah, intuition is definitely one of those things that we all have inside of us, but we need people to help us kind of train ourselves on how to tune back in with ourselves and body and our senses and kind of leverage that information, that genius that we all have inside of us, so that it guides us to make really important decisions in life in all those areas that you mentioned. So powerful, powerful work that you're doing out there in the world as well. Thank you so much for sharing. All right, beautiful. My next speaker is going to be Allison Hammond. Allison, thanks so much. Welcome.
Sure. Well, thanks for having me here. Instead of talking a lot, what I'm going to do is actually show you what I do. My company's called Response Able People, and I am a visual facilitator. And I'd like to take you through a little journey with my friend Jennifer. This is Jennifer. And she is, I'm not sure if you, I hope you can see that. Anyway, Jennifer is in the middle of caring for aging parents. She's an entrepreneur and she's got children at home. And this is what Jennifer looks like now. But where Jennifer would like to be is having a lot more peace and quiet in her world and joy. So what do I do to help with that? So what I do is I help people by, I do lots of different processes. This happens to be one that's called a path. And what we're going to do is we're going to have Jennifer bring together some friends and family, because she's not going to do this by herself. She's already been trying to figure out everything by herself. That really hasn't been working. Maybe colleagues. Don't do it quite as sloppy when I'm not doing it live, or I'm doing it for a person. So what are the steps here? First, we're going to talk about where Jennifer is now. The reason we want other people there is because we're going to list what are her gifts, skills, and knowledge. And finally, we're going to come up with bold steps. And this is the key. Jennifer's not going to do these bold steps by herself. She's got friends, family, and colleagues that are going to support her in this journey. What I wanted to share with this group is that many of the people that I've worked with, sometimes their bold step is they need a coach. They need a health and wellness coach. They need somebody to help them with finances. They need somebody to help them with their mindset. So oftentimes I can be a conduit to help people find and get to a coach. And so that's just gives you a really quick idea of a certain person. I have done visual facilitation for groups. I've done it for businesses. I've done it for people with disabilities. And so I've done this kind of planning with lots of different kinds of people. But we need to remember that 70% of people are visual thinkers, and another portion are kinesthetic thinkers. And so when I'm drawing, it really helps to engage people that think that way in the process, and even the people that are here everyone feels like they're contributing because what they say ends up on a piece of paper. So the people that tend to talk a lot don't talk as much because I put their picture on the paper. People that don't feel like they have as much to say, or it takes them longer to think of something to say, their picture also ends up on the paper, so it levels the playing ground for everybody in the process. I've been doing this for about 13 years. I've been a facilitator in lots of places my whole life. That gives me, so I'm kind of the double whammy. I can draw and I can facilitate. So that's my story.
That was so beautiful. Yeah, I had to put it on the main screen as you're doing that. But yeah, I could see a lot of visual learners that really can connect with that part as well. And because we have so much distraction, I find that that's really a step-by-step approach on how you also help someone go from that point A to those bold steps, which really can change our lives at the end of the day. Do you do this for individuals and or companies or both?
Yeah,
How do you deliver the facilitation and the drawing part
sure.
in your day to day?
Yeah. So we all hear this, don't we? That you're supposed to find your niche. Where I'm finding that really is there is a market for me is women who are at the hub of caring for their children and their aging parents, and they're doing feeling like they're doing it by themselves, and it's really impacting maybe their work life or their family life, and they're kind of feeling like this and very alone. So I have been talking to coaches. I've actually just got off of a presentation with some human resources professionals that this could be an awesome benefit for their employees, because their employees who are feeling like this are missing work, they're not engaged at work, and sometimes they are even quitting their jobs. So that's kind of the niche that I've been working at right now.
Hmm. Well, beautiful. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. Definitely such a unique way that you are bringing that about. And yeah, there's so many people that need that kind of support. But I could absolutely see that for corporations as well. So thanks so much for doing that, and thank you so much for sharing with us today. All right, beautiful. My last but not least speaker for today for our panel is going to be Megan Bramlett. Megan, thank you so much. Welcome, and looking forward to hearing a little bit about you as well.
Thank you so much. I hope you can hear me. My computer's been a little weird this morning. So I loved hearing what everyone had to say. Like listening to everyone has just been amazing. Like I'm inspired by everyone. My history is I've been a massage therapist for a little over 20 years. I own my own massage therapy business. And in doing so, I realized that one, negative thought patterns can really destroy you. And two, most of my clients always needed help. They always needed help with their mindset, with the negative thought patterns, with just not giving themselves credit for what they do. So I started looking into it, and I got my NLP certification because I felt that that would be where I could really help people. And my biggest thing I work with right now are the negative thought patterns and the causes of them, and how to deal with them through the NLP to bring you the success in entrepreneurs, but also just in everyday life, because we all suffer from them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love your background in massage therapy. So you do it for local clients, and you do it virtually for clients that you could serve with the mindset piece. Is that how you usually have it?
Yeah, it's the massage therapy is here in DeLand, Florida, and I've been in the business with my company's Phoenix Body and Mind LLC. I've been in my own business for about 8 years now, and as far as the massage, and then the coaching kind of came naturally. Like that kind of came with it just over time. I just started really looking into it and saying, wow, like this could really help a lot of my clients. And then I saw, hey, in 2020 especially, how can we get this out into the world and not just with the local people?
Yeah, I love your physical aspect that you have as well. So it's very, very cool. And Megan, what have you seen as far as negative thought patterns? What really comes up the most?
A lot of times it's going to be the self-criticism, and especially for entrepreneurs is definitely the I'm not, this isn't really me. I had the success I've had is just luck, that wonderful little, and for some reason, it's drawing a blank, but we all know what that is, imposter syndrome. That comes up a lot, even with my realtors. Like, oh, my firm, those sales were just luck, and I'm not really good at this. And then the self criticism and all or nothing. I either have to succeed at everything or I'm not successful at anything. And especially for women, with having the mom and being the mom, being the wife, being the entrepreneur, doing all of this, it gets overwhelming and it can hard. And we are really critical on ourselves. We can put ourselves down in a heartbeat. And what happens is then you get stuck in where you're at, and it's so hard to get out of that mindset. And it's so hard to get out of that way of thinking that you're just not good enough because you didn't succeed in this one thing. So, and really stepping in with my clients and using the positive affirmations, some cognitive restructuring, self-compassion is big. Some visualization, some anchoring points, like for my clients that have been through a lot, like some traumas and stuff. I use anchoring, which could be something as easy as, like, hitting your earlobe to remind yourself to get out of that pattern. So those have been so amazing with my clients that they do wonderful with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's so much stuff that we can all resonate with in there. So thank you again for your service and all the amazing work that you do. And we have actually come to the end of this event. I mean, I get inspired every time I do these events of all the amazing purpose-driven entrepreneurs out there in the world and all the amazing work that you're doing in service to others. So usually as we wrap up our event today, I would like to go around with everyone and kind of get one success tip that has helped you build your company, or that you feel has helped you become a successful entrepreneur, that you can leave our audience with. And also, where is it that our audience can continue the conversation with you? So we'll start with Ariana.
So my one tip would be, it's not sales, it's about relationships. That's really what has sold well for me, is developing relationships with people and letting people know how much I care about them. And the best way to see what's going on, get a feel for who I am, is to join my Facebook group. And so if you go into Facebook and type in the search Women Living Without Limits, you can go in there, answer the questions, and join our group. I go live once a week, and I have all kinds of content that goes on throughout, and you can always book a call with me through that group. So again, Women Living Without Limits.
All right, I will include the link because I think we missed the last part, but I will include the links for all our amazing speakers today, so it'll be easier for you to find all of them. So thanks again. Thanks so much, Ariana. Shantae?
My apologies, my mouse froze. So I would say my biggest tip would be visualization. I know that many people, when I talk to them, they say that they have trouble sticking to a financial plan. And in my opinion, it's mainly because they're not dreaming big enough. So what is it that your goal is? If that goal and that dream doesn't make you cry, if it doesn't touch your soul, you're not going to do what it takes to achieve it. You're going to give up. So visualization is the biggest thing, in my opinion, or one of the biggest things to keep you on the path. So I have a personal a personal Facebook page. And you can find me on Facebook under my name, which is Shantae Rodriguez, but the / is empoweredyou.financial.coach. And I also have a private women's only financial group called Empowered Women Financial Achievement Community. And in there, I have a series on the ways that it affects finances affect women differently than men. So it goes into more detail about those things. And I do regular challenges, and I do group coaching and one-on-one coaching. So those are the two best ways to reach me.
All right, beautiful. Kate?
Okay, so my tip is to get outside, to look at the horizon, look a long way and breathe and just be. Forget everything else and just be, connect with you, and then take it from there. So that's my one tip, and it works a treat for everybody. Dream about where you want to go. And the best place to connect with me is on LinkedIn. Very simple, just search for my Kate Gondwin, and connect with me. And if anyone wants any more information, then please do just reach out, either from an individual or an organization perspective. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kate. Just be. Yeah. Bridget?
I would say my advice to fellow entrepreneurs out there is to just be authentically who you are. It can be very challenging sometimes, depending on your industry, to reach a certain level of success, but ultimately stay true to who you are and you will find the right clients, the right customers. Be yourself and don't let the pressures of the outside world and social media make you conform into something that you're not.
Powerful. And where is it that we can connect with you further?
You can find me on LinkedIn or on Instagram at Broker Bridget, and happy to chat with anybody.
All right. Thanks so much. Lolita?
Sorry about that. I would say to just focus on the process, not just the results, and realize that success is a journey. It's a journey, not a destination. So just and celebrate your victories. We don't take time to celebrate our small win, because once we celebrate those wins, and it will lead us to the next win and the next win. So focus on the process. And you can find me on LinkedIn at Lolita Cleveland 1.
Beautiful. Thanks so much. Eliana?
So for me, I will just say what I say to my clients. Whenever they come to me with questions about, I don't understand my body, I don't know if this is right for me, I don't know if this person is good for me, what about foods, what about objects? Don't dismiss anything and don't assume anything that your mind will tell you, oh no, that won't affect you. Oh yeah, I know the answer to that. Get to the place where you start feeling and seeing things with the eyes and the heart of a child. Like if you're looking at a thing for the very first time in your life, and this is where you're going to get that wow factor, and you're going to get yourself, you're going to get to know yourself in a totally different way, in a totally different light, and you will realize how magnificent you are. I restored my health this way 12 years ago, and that's how I help my clients realize what is actually good for them, by connecting them to the sensations in their body so they can start feeling whatever is sitting in their lungs, in their shoulders, in their ankles, wherever they're basically placing those blocks. People can reach me on my website, lightfrequencies.co.uk, or Facebook, Eliana Borosco. And in my Facebook page, there is also a link to my Instagram page.
Beautiful. Allison?
So I have to say that the best thing that I've done is I actually have my own visual plan. I had a friend of mine who's a visual facilitator do it. I highly recommend it. Why? Because as an entrepreneur, I feel like I'm by myself a lot. So who's part of my team? Not only my financial person, not only my coach, not only my accountability partner, but my husband and my son. And my son gives me the biggest tip. Mom, you haven't done your 10,000 hours yet. Be patient. And you can find me at LinkedIn. I'm Dr. Allison Hammond, Dr. Allison Hammond.
Love that. Thank you so much. And Megan?
My biggest thing that I've realized I had never done before was visualization, but not just visualizing where I want to be in 5 years, because everyone says visualize where you want to be in 5 years, 10 years, but you need to visualize what are the possibilities of problems that could come up, so you're prepared, so you don't end up in that negative situation where that's affecting your mind and affecting your ability to move forward. So visualizing the mistakes, visualizing, you don't know every mistake, but visualizing that there's going to be hiccups and what they could possibly be has really helped me kind of see things before they happen, so I can kind of start to navigate my way without having as many of the negative patterns come up. And you can reach me on Facebook at Megan Flannery Bramlett, and then everything else, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, it's all Phoenix Body Mind.
Beautiful. Well, I want to thank you all, ladies. Thank you so much for the time and everything that you spend with us, everything that you had to share with us, All our amazing speakers are going to be tagged, and also all the links will be available on all our social media, and you will find more information on that. And also, if you have a message to share, you can join our virtual and live events as well. And we're looking forward to getting to know you better and connect you with other entrepreneurs. I think the biggest value is being in service and nurturing relationships, which is one of our values here at the Life School. So thank you so much for attending, and I will see you with another event. Bye, everybody.